Hey, welcome to this new section. Now, where were we? We last worked on the various login pages, right? The login, the register, and also I believe the reset password in case you've forgotten your password, right? So this is where you're going to input it, right? But what we want now is we want to move on to the next section. And in this section, what you're going to do is we're going to enter the information that you're actually going to use in this app, right? So what you're going to enter here is going to be your name. So you're going to enter the name, then you're going to enter your age, then you're going to enter your preference, I believe. And what else? Also your gender, right? Because you're going to be shown people according to the gender that you prefer, right? So you're going to enter all that information. And just before you start, we're going to log in your location. But because we're going to do the login of the location a bit later, not right now, we're going to leave it, let's leave it for a bit later. And then we can log in the actual user's location, right? So that's all that we're going to do in this particular section, right? So why don't we get to it, okay? So what we're going to do is, let's start by creating the controller. And the first thing we'd want to do is create the user's name, right? So we come here and this is going to be a Swift file like so. And this is going to be called something like set app name controller, right? Like so we hit create, that's going to be that. Now we have this, we get rid of this. This is going to be UIKIT like so. This is going to be class. This is going to be set up name controller like so. This is going to be of type UI view controller like so. Come here, view did load. We've done this a bunch of times. Call the super like so, right? Basically that it's going to have a bunch of things. It's going to have three labels: the welcome label, the name label, and the terms label, right? This is going to tell you that the name that you put here is going to be made public, right? So the welcome label is just going to be we're going to use our convenience initializer. Welcome label, this is going to be of type UI label like so, and the text in question, is going to be what's your name like so, question mark. Then we're going to have question mark like so. Then the font, we need a comma here, and we say font is going to be bold system font of size. It's going to be 32. The number of lines is going to be 0, right? Then after that we're going to say let name label, and this is going to be UI label like so. We're going to have the text here is going to be you have to have a name like so, right? Put a full stop like so. Come here, say font is going to be bold system font of size is going to be 24 like so. The number of lines is going to be that should be inside here. That's going to be the number of lines is going to be 0, right? Come here, then you're going to say let terms label. Let's give ourselves as much real estate as possible. Let terms label, this is going to be UI label like so. The text is going to be your name will be made public like so. Come here, say font dot system font of size is going to be it's not going to be bold, it's going to be 16 like so. Then we say text color is going to be white like so. Then we're going to have the text field. We say let name, spell it correctly, this is going to be UI text field like so. Come here, do this, come here, do that, then say let, spell it correctly, let TF, and TF is going to be custom text field. The placeholder is going to be name like so, and what we want to do is just return TF, right? Then you know what's coming next. It's the container. So this is going to be let lazy var, because it's going to use that, right? So it's going to be lazy var. This is going to be name container view like so. It's going to be of type that like so. Come here, do that, come here, do this, say, and we could just put it in one line, say return. What do you want to return? Text field container. The image in question is going to be person dot circle dot fill, like so. Text field is going to be name text field, right? Like so, right? And okay, I don't have that, but I already looked at it. It's going to be person.circle.fill. You're going to see it in a minute, right? Then after that, we keep it moving, and we're going to have all these things. All these are things that we've actually seen, right? So I'll spend more time when we come to a place where we have not seen it yet, right? So we have not seen that in particular, right? So it's going to be lazy var next button. Next button is going to be our function is make page button. The image in question is going to be arrow.right. We have been using this a lot. No, but it's different, right? So yeah, okay, fine. Arrow.right. We could put if we want, you could put like a default on this, right? So that's going to be that. Then we come here and we say var. This is going to be next button bottom anchor, like so. Next button bottom anchor. This is going to be ns layout constraint, like so. Do that, and now we can come to the view did load. What do we want? Configure gradient. We've already seen that. Then we're going to say what do we want? We want to configure UI. Configure UI doesn't exist yet, so we need to make it. So come here, make that function, right? Func, it's going to be called configure UI, like so, and that's going to be that to quiet it. And the title here is going to be an empty string. Title is going to be an empty string, like so. And while we're at it, hides keyboard when tapped around, right? So all those are things we have done. Now we need to put everything on the view. Let's do that pretty quickly. Come here, put it all in one line. View.add subviews, like so. Use our variadic parameters. That's going to be welcome label, like so. Then we're going to have name label, like so. Then we're going to have name container view, like so. Then we're going to have next button, like so. Then we're going to have terms label, like so, right? Then we come here and the next thing is going to be welcome label, like so, and then we're going to anchor it like so. Come here, the top is going to be the view dot what's the view dot safe area layout guide dot top anchor, like so. Then the leading is going to be view dot leading anchor, like so. Padding top is going to be that padding leading this, right? Then we come here and we say terms label, like so, dot anchor, like so. Anchor, that's going to be that. Top is going to be welcome label. Wait, we've done the welcome label, so name is going to be welcome label dot bottom anchor, like so. Leading is going to be view dot leading anchor. Padding at the top, what's the padding at the top? Padding at the top is going to be 32 in this case. Padding leading 8, right? Padding leading is going to be 8. That is done. Terms label is going to be anchor, and anchor, like so. Then we're going to say bottom is going to be view dot safe area layout guide dot bottom anchor, like so. Come here, say terms label dot center x in view, and what's the view going to be? It's going to be the view, like so, right? And name container view dot anchor. Okay, what's that going to be? Top is going to be name label dot bottom anchor, like so. Leading is going to be view dot leading anchor. Padding top is okay. Leading is going to be view dot leading up anchor. Let's put the trailing also. Let's not forget the trailing. Trailing is going to be view dot trailing anchor. Padding top is going to be 60. Padding leading is going to be, let's say, 32. Okay, let's make it 60. Let's make it a bit shorter. And padding trailing is going also to be 60, right? The others we made to be 32, right? Let's make it 32 by 32, right? 32. And then come here and make it 32, right? You could make it 60 by 60. Essentially, play with the values until you find something that you like, right? So that's going to be that. And then we're going to have the next button dot anchor, like so. And this is going to be next button. The trailing is going to be view dot trailing anchor, like so. And then padding trailing is going to be 8, right? Like so. Then that's going to be that. Padding trailing is going to be 8, like so. Then we come here and we say next button bottom anchor, like so. That's going to be next button next button dot bottom anchor dot constraint, and we say this equal to the view dot safe area layout guide, like so, dot bottom anchor, like so. The constant constraint, rather, the constraint is going to be that view dot bottom anchor, and the constant is going to be, we say 80, and activate it by saying next button bottom anchor, make it active, is active, set it to true, right? So that's set to true, and basically that, I believe, right? Let's make sure that it works. And how we do that is pretty straightforward. You should know that by now. We come to the scene delegate, and instead of the start page controller, what do we want to put? We would like to put up the set app name controller, right? So we do this, reload, try it out, see whether or not it actually works, right? So let's do that. Come here. Okay, we have ballsed it up. That's not what we were trying to do. We have clearly everything is on the screen, but it's not exactly how we want to do it now, is it? So I think we ballsed it up in the configure UI. Let's just set that out. So it's going to be view dot, we put the welcome label, the name container view, the next button and the terms label. That's good. Welcome label anchor is going to be view dot safe area, the top anchor leading is going to be view dot leading anchor. Padding top is going to be let's make this 16, right? And then padding leading is going to be 8. Okay, that's done. Then after that, this is supposed to be name label, right? Supposed to be name label. So we just say name label, like so. Anchor, and the top is going to be welcome label dot bottom anchor, leading is going to be view dot leading anchor. Padding top is going to be 32. Padding leading is going to be 8. Terms label is going to be anchor view dot safe area dot bottom anchor. Center X in view, and that's going to be the view, right? Let's reload this, see if everything is as it should be. Okay, done, right? So here, what's your name? You have to have a name. Your name will be made public. Then we have this. Okay, when it's for some reason it's a bit finicky in the selection. Guest check it's timed out, right? We're getting this error. Okay, fine. Now you can type a name. Okay, you can put a name here, right? If you want, you can make it. If this is a pretty long thing for name, you could just make it. The padding leading is 60, right? I'm just keeping in. It's the same as what we did in the previous one, right? So that is handled. And now the next thing we might want to do is we might want to make sure that essentially we give it, when you finish editing, we want to either give you an alert if the name is too short, right? Or we show the next button bottom anchor, right? So that's what we want to do. So how we do that is pretty straightforward. We come here and we set an extension. So we say extension, this is going to be set up name controller, and this is going to be UI text field delegate, like so. Come here, and what we want is first, before that, is to tell it the delegate, right? So we come here and we say in the view did load, say here name text field, like so, dot delegate, and this is going to be self, right? That is sorted. And the next thing to do afterwards is to have the function. So we say here func or just call it called text field did end editing. So this is what it's called when you finish editing, right? So what we want here is get the name. So we say guard let's name text, and this is going to be text field dot text, else we return, right? So get the name, and what we're going to check is if name text field, if name text dot count is less than 3, right? So if you try to end editing with 3, what we should do is we should come here and we say name container view dot shake, right? So we say shake, just say shake, we use the defaults, then afterwards put an alert, and the alert is going to be short name, and the message is going to be name must be at least 3 characters long, right? So you have to put a name that is at least 3 characters long. If it's shorter than that, we are not going to accept it, right? Else, what do? We say next button, okay, next button bottom anchor, this one, right? And we say the constant. What's the constant? The constant is going to be -8. You know what that means? It's going to rise up, right? We have already seen that. Then we're going to come here and we say next button dot add target. It's going to be self, like so. This is going to be hashtag selector. What's that going to be? It's going to be handle next, spell it correctly, or make sure we have not created it, so it doesn't matter how we spell it, to be honest, for touch up inside, right? So basically that, and what it's going to do is we come back up here and we're going to create the function that we've just created there. It's going to be called handle next page, like so. What's that going to be? That's going to be print something like ABC, right? For now, we're going to use it to go to the next page, right? So we're just going to print ABC. Okay, so that's going to be that. So why is this complaining? It's going to be hashtag self action is going to be selector handle next page. I thought we called it handle next page. What in the Lord's name is the problem? Okay, let's come here and say hashtag selector objective C. Oh, we're not putting an objective C. I forgot, right? So let's come here and say at objective C, right? So let's just do this, right? Now it's going to stop complaining, hopefully. Refers to handle next page. Okay. Oh, it doesn't have. Okay, now it does. Right? Okay. Now it's going to stop complaining. Now let's stop this, run this, see if everything is as it should be. Okay, give it a second, right? So let's try typing a name that is less than 3 characters and see how it shakes, right? Tap outside, it shakes, then it says short name. Name must be at least 3 characters long. Then we hit OK, right? Then we put this, type outside, and this appears, right? This appears, and we can go to the next page. And if we hit this, we should get ABC, right? So that's going to be basically that. And the problem here you see is that once the name is less than that, it's going to shake, but we can still go to the next page, right? So what we'd want to do is, if you actually enter a long name, then change it. We want this to disappear, right? So that's what we want to do. Okay, so let's fix the minor problem we had, such that when, and I'm guessing this is when you're dealing with a really malicious user, right? So for example here, you could type 3 characters and then do this, get the button, then afterwards reduce the number of buttons, right? Reduce the number of characters, like so. Then the button remains, right? How we would address that is we could come here and in the name text.count, right? What we would do is just say next button dot is hidden, and this is going to be set to true. And what we're going to do here is next button dot is hidden is going to be set to false, right? So if the count is less than 3, hide the button. If it's not, unhide it. right? So in this case, if we have a really malicious user, so if we come here and we say, let's see, like so, stop editing, we get the button, right? And if we come back here and try to register a name that is shorter, and we come here, it will shake, tell us this, then this disappears and we can't click on it, right? So basically that. And if we actually make it greater, the button appears. Of course, you don't get the animation because the animation is held up a bit, but yeah, it's still there, it's still working, it's as it should be. With that done, we can proceed. And what we want to do now is going to be, we're going to set up the controller that is going to deal with our age, right? So what that looks like is we come here and we say Control N, create a new Swift file. This one is going to be called set up age controller. It's going to do exactly what you think it is going to do. And instead of foundation, we're going to say import UIKit, like so. And here we're going to say class. This is going to be called set up age controller. UI view controller, view did load, called the super, like so. That is done. Then after that, get here, copy all this. Do we need yeah, I think we need all this, right? And the button, we need this, right? We'll make changes as required. Copy all this or type it out if you want. It's pretty much the same, right? Welcome label is going to be when's your birthday. When's, okay, there's a space. When's your birthday, like so. You have to be 17 to proceed. Your age will be made public, right? Your age. Okay, text field, birthday, right? And here we have, let's just calendar, not calendar, but SF, this one, right? So we have our SF symbol. And what we want is going to be the calendar, right? So it's going to be calendar.circle.fill, right? Calendar.circle.fill, this one, like so. Copy the name, make sure it's exactly the same. Paste calendar.circle.fill. And, well, we could rename this to be, okay. Come here, say this is going to be the birthday text field. This is going to be the birthday text field. So that is done. The next are going to be pretty much the same. No need to rethink it. We probably need to copy a bit more. Recycle as much as possible. Let's see. We need this 3, right? Or this 4. So let's copy, come here, paste it, right? Okay. Configure UI doesn't exist yet. Come here, say func configure UI. It's going to have exactly what you think it's going to have. What do we need to do? We need to add the various views. Come back here, copy this. Change the birthday text field. That's the only thing we're going to change. Come here. Age. Paste this. It's going to complain about one of them, I believe. Is it name container view? Birthday text field. Okay. Birthday container view. Okay, let's call it birthday container view. Birthday container view, right? And it's going to complain here. This is going to be the birthday container view, right? That is done. It's going to look pretty much the same. So let us just come here, copy this, copy this. These are the parts which are going to be exactly the same. So no need to think too much about it. It's going to complain about the birthday container view. So we come here, say birthday container view, right? And that is going to be that. And what do we want to do now? We want to create a function, and this function is going to be called, this is the function which is going to make this page unique compared to the other one. Setup. What's this going to do? Exactly what you think it's going to do, right? So it's going to be let calendar, and calendar is going to be calendar, like so. The identifier is going to be Gregorian. We want the Gregorian calendar, and we're going to have the current date. Let current date is going to be today, so it's going to be that. Come here, say var components. Components are just going to be date components, date components, like so. Come here and we say components dot calendar is going to be the calendar we just created, right? That is done. Then we say components dot year, and that's going to be, we want it to be -17, right? You're going to see why this is going to be -17. Then we say let max date. Max date is going to be calendar dot date by adding to this one, right? I was looking for it. By adding components to current date, right? So get that, add to the current date, that's the maximum. And then say components dot year is going to be -100. That's going to be the maximum age you could be. That is going to be let min date. So if you're above 100, you're not allowed on our app, right? You could change that if you want. You could let it be yeah, everyone deserves to find somebody they like and love, and yeah, but here for now we're just going to put 100 as you have to be between the ages of 17 and 100. If you want to be older than that, it's fine. If you want to make it younger than that, like you want to make it like instead of 17 to be 13, you can also make it, right? We're going to keep it 17, right? Because they're going to be a bit of messaging each other and potentially meeting each other, meeting out on dates. So it's best to just leave it at 18, I believe. But you could change that, right? So by adding to, and what we want to do is components to current date, right? So that's the min date is going to be 100. That's why we put 17. That's going to be the maximum date. Then we get that. So the max date is going to be 17. 17 years from today, or the day that I'm recording this, right? So every day you open it, it's going to calculate what is 17 days from the day that you're opening it, right? So what we do now is just say date picker. Wait, did we create a date picker? I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Okay, let's just say date picker dot minimum date, like so. What's the minimum date? The minimum date here is going to be the minimum date. We forgot to create a date picker, so let's come to the top here and say let date picker is going to be a UI date picker, like so. Do that. Now we can reference it. Date picker dot minimum date, and we already did that. The date picker dot minimum date is going to be min date. Date picker dot maximum date is going to be max date, like so. Then say date picker dot date picker mode. Now you can decide whether you want to enter hours and dates, but we're just going to take the day, right? So this is going to be dot date and time. We just want the date, right? You could also put in the time. That's what it's going to be. Now there are a number of types you could pick. We're going to go with the date picker dot preferred date picker style, and this one is going to be, in our case, inline, right? That's going to be that. Then we say we're going to present it in a toolbar. So this is going to be let toolbar. Toolbar is going to be that. So we have a toolbar, like so. Then we say toolbar dot bar style is going to be that. Then we come here and we say toolbar dot size to fit, like so. And what's the next thing? It's going to be let flex button. This is going to be the middle part. Flex button. Okay, spell it correctly. Flex button. Give ourselves a bit more real estate. Come here. The flex button is going to be UI bar button item. This is going to be bar button system item. This is going to be dot flexible space. Target is going to be the self. Action is going to be nil, right? So when you hit the middle part, it's not going to be pressed. Then at the other edge is going to be the done button. So we say let done button. Done button is going to be let done button. Done button is going to be UI bar button item, like so. Title is going to be done. So when you're done, you're done. Style is going to be plain. Target is going to be self, like so. Action is going to be hashtag selector handle. Date picker doesn't exist yet, right? Come here, say at Objective C func handle date picker, I believe, like so. Come here. What do we want here? For now, it's just going to be let's print ABC. ABC, right? That's going to be that. Then come here, come back here, and we put the items on the toolbar. So we say toolbar dot set items, and this one requires an array. So this is going to take the flex button that you can't press and the done button on the other end, right? So this is going to be that. Then we're going to say the done button, and then animation is always good, so we say true, like so. And then we come here and we say birthday text field dot input view. So when you press the input, you're going to get the date picker, right? Then here we say birthday text field dot input accessory view is going to be the toolbar, right? So that is done, and we can actually try this out for size. So let us come back here, and if we've done everything according to what we're supposed to do, if you come to the scene delegate, I can't see the scene delegate, let's just get it here. If you come to the scene delegate, and instead of setup name, you just say setup age commanders, and we try running it. And if we've done everything according to how it should be, we should get this, right? When's your birthday? You have to be 17 to proceed. Hit this. Okay. It's not working. Let's figure out why that is, right? The reason we are not seeing the date picker is we're not calling the functionality, right? Setup date picker, we're not calling it, right? So we should call it by coming here and saying setup date picker, like so. And if we call it now, presumably we're going to see what we're hoping for, right? Let's see it now. Let's come here and hit this, and voila. So you see, this is the flexible space that we're going to have. This is the done button, and we are going to be transported 17 years ago today. So today is the 1st of March. So we're going to go all the way to 1st of March 2024. As I type this is going to go all the way 17 years before, and that's what it's going to be, right? So that's going to be March 1st, right? So that is basically our date that is going to be handled, right? That's going to be our date, and it is working as we would expect it, right? So what we would want to do is not just to have the date selected, or rather, let's poke around a bit and see. We have typed a lot of code. Let's figure out what it's actually supposed to do, right? So if we come here, and I think this will actually benefit from having a bit less space to it. So that's going to be birthday container view padding here. Let's make it 60 by 60. Let's make it a bit smaller because the date is not going to be a long. You can enter a long name, but you can't enter a long date, right? So let's do that. Save, then reload. And if we do this, what this is going to be is it's going to be shorter, right? So we now have a shorter date entry. And what this is going to allow us to do is that this is going to allow us to actually type a better date, right? So what we want to do for the date is pretty straightforward. Is we want to calculate the age, right? So there are two ways you could do it. You could send back to the database, to Firebase, the actual date that the user enters, but I don't see the point of it. You could just calculate the age here and then send it back when the user's date, when the user's age is actually in a, we send it back as a string or an integer, right? So you could convert it into a string or an integer and then send it back instead of sending back the date, right? It would save us time by just, after you enter it, we calculate it here, we calculate the age on the device, then send to the database the actual user's age, right? So let us actually see that, right? So of course, the question you would want is that you're going to have now is, how are we going to make sure that the user's age increases, right? How are we going to make sure that the user's age actually increases? That could be another thing, right? I'd never thought of that, right? I've just thought of it right now on how. For now, we're just going to put the age. We're going to enter the age because you're going to be eternally stuck in that age, right? You're going to be like, if you're 24, you're going to be 24 forever, right? So if we send it back, but there's actually a case to be made for sending back the current age and then later on calculating the actual age on the device, right? Okay, yeah, you could argue that, right? Or you could, another way you could do it is that you could write a Firebase function, and the job of this function is going to be basically it runs every time you open it would have to run essentially every day, right? So it's going to be running every single day and calculating your actual age, right? So it would be checking your age every single day. But for now, we're just going to be entering the age and sending it back, right? Yeah. I just thought about it and I actually realized that calculating it on the device the other way might make a bit more sense, right? For now, let's just do it the way I had suggested, right? So this is going to be calculate age, and calculate age is going to be a function. What's it going to do? It's going to just do exactly what it says, right? Let diff components, spell it correctly. This is going to be calendar, like so, and this is going to be current dot date components, and this is going to be we have the year, like so. Like so, from date picker, no, but date, how come it's not date picker dot date to the current date today. So calculate to the current date today, like so. Then we get the years. We say here guard let years, spell it correctly, years, and we can get that from diff components dot years, right? So dot year else just and then we come here and we're going to return years, right? Okay, so this should return an integer, right? So now we have an integer and we can actually save this, right? So what we'd like to do now is come here and we're just going to say let's age is going to be calculate age, like so, and that's going to store the return. And here we're just going to say let date formatter, we want to show the user the date that has been selected, right? Date formatter, and this is going to be date formatter, like so. Then we say date formatter dot date style, and the date style is going to be dot medium, right? And then we say here we put that date on the, so after you select date, we'd like to put it on the text field, right? So that's going to be birthday text field dot text, like so. This is going to be date formatter dot string from date picker date, like so, right? And we say birthday text field dot resign fast responder, like so, and then push the next button bottom anchor. When you select the date, we want to put the next button bottom anchor dot constant, and this is going to be -8, and we say I don't see why we should actually type it out, right? So just come here, copy this for now, copy this, come back to our age, paste it, come back here, jump to this, jump to the definition, come here, copy this, like so, copy, come here. It's going to complain because this doesn't exist. Come here, paste this. I like putting my Objective-C functions below my functions. This is just something I like, so it has no bearing, right? So if you move that there, that is going to be okay. Now let's try it out, right? And just to make sure that everything is working as it should, let's print the age to the console, right? So come here, say print, put the age, and this is going to give the user's age. And if we run this now, presumably we're going to get the user's age, right? So let us see if that is the case. So we come, and one thing I could point out is we don't have to put the machinations of trying to stop the user from creating a name that is too short, right? Even if you change the date, the earliest date that you can enter is the least legal date, right? The earliest possible date is 17 years, so you don't need to change that. So if you want to change your age from maybe 98 years to 76, right? That is all within the age, but you can't change from 98 to 13 because 13 is below the age of people that we want on our app, right? So that is essentially it, right? So that is sorted. Let's run it and make sure that everything is as it should be. Okay, we come here, select this, and we get our age, put this, make this our age, hit done. Okay, hit done after you select the age, and you get March 1, 2007, right? And your age is going to be 17, right? Now let's play around and make sure that this is actually the case. Okay, hit this, and we could go all the way to 100 years from 2024 is 1924, I believe, right? Wait, we can go to 1924 if I'm not wrong. 1924, right? So you can go all the way back to 1924. So you could pick 1924, hit, okay, 25, like so, hit done. And we say March 1st, 1925, right? So your age is going to be 99 years, right? So we can go all the way, people from 99 all the way to 17 years can join our app, right? So that is done. And now we can proceed from there. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to create our setup photo controller, right? You pick the photo. Now, if you are a VIP user, you're going to have a chance of putting more than one photo. If you're not a VIP user, you're going to be limited to one photo, right? It's to encourage our users to, what's it called? It's to encourage them to sign up, right? So come here, hit Command N. This is going to be a new Swift file. What's the Swift file going to be? It's going to be called set up photo controller, right? So we set up the photo controller, hit create like so, come here, change this to UIKIT like so, come here, say this is going to be class set up photo controller. This is going to be UI view controller, right? It's going to look a lot like what you expect it to look. So what's it going to do? It's going to be view did load, call the super, that is done. Come back to this. Copy a lot of the things here. We need this 3, I believe. Pick this, come copy, set up photo controller, come here, do this, right? So it's going to be welcome label, blah, blah, blah. Instead of that, this is going to be pick a photo. Pick a photo, come here, say pick a photo, right? That's going to be that. And you're going to be told that pro users get up to 4 photos, right? That is going to be that. And then you say your photo will be made public, right? So your photo is going to be seen. Your photo will be made public, right? Of course, it's going to be made public to only the people who would potentially match with you, right? If they're not going to potentially match with you, they're not going to see you. So that's done. Now we need an image picker for the photo, and that's going to be let photo image view. What's that going to be? UI image view, like so. Come here, do this, come here, do that, right? Then we say let iv is going to be UI image, like so, image view, like so. Come here, say iv.tint color, it's going to be black, right? You can have it in any color as long as it's black. say iv.image. That's going to be UI image. System name is going to be photo.circle, like so. Iv dot content mode is going to be dot scale to fill, like so. Iv dot layer dot masks to bound, say true, like so. Say return iv, like so. That is done. What's the next thing we need to do? We need our buttons, right? Come here. We need this too. Okay, we now have our buttons. That's done. After that, we need the various things here. We need the configure gradient, the configure UI, hides keyboard. Okay, there's no hides keyboard here, right? And the title. Let's just copy everything, then get rid of what we do not need, right? So that's one way we could do it. Copy everything, get rid of what we do not need, right? That is done. Come here. We keep the title. We don't need this. We need that. We don't need the date picker. That was last page, right? So what do? We need func.configure UI, like so. Come here. What do we want to do here? It's gonna look exactly the way you think it's going to look. Name label, blah 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 blah. This is all going to be the same, I believe, except the photo image pick, I believe, right? Okay, let's just copy this, then figure out what we need to get rid of, right? So come here, put this welcome label. Birthday container view doesn't exist, so we need a photo image view here instead. Photo image view, that is done, right? Then we have the photo image view, the next button, the welcome label, and the name label and the terms label. That is done. So we have, okay, the welcome label is going to be that. The photo image view, birthday container view doesn't exist, right? So let's get rid of that. So let's come here. We could actually put the IV here, right? Say something like iv.setSize. Height is going to be view.frame.width multiplied by 0.5, right? The width is going to be view.frame.width multiplied by 0.5. That's done. That's done. Then come here and we say iv.layer.corner radius is going to be half of that. So it's going to be view.frame.width multiplied by half of that is going to be 0.25. So if you do this, it's going to be circular because it's half, right? We've already seen that, right? Okay. I see. So what you could do instead, let's get rid of this here. Let's come back here. And we can now use the view here, right? So we could come here and we say photo image view dot set size. Okay, let's actually undo that so that you don't have to type it, right? Let's just come here, cut this, copy this, right? Cut, come here. Let's put it in place. Let's come here and we say photo image view, paste that, set size like so. Come here. What do we call it? View. Okay, get rid of this, right? View, right? Get rid of that. Come here. Do that. Come here. Do that. Come here. Paste that. Now everything is going to be as it should be. Okay, photo image view, anchor, name label. Let's see. It's supposed to be under the name label, right? Where do we put it? Okay, we have put that. So let's anchor it. Let's come here and we say photo image view dot anchor. And what do we anchor it to? Anchor like so. Anchor like so. And this is going to be the top. Is going to be view dot safe area layout guide dot top anchor, like so. Leading is going to be view dot leading anchor. Then we need padding at the top. Padding top is going to be 16. Padding leading, let's make it 8. Okay, so we do that, or rather, let's center it, right? So anchor, let's come here. Let's just change this, right? So this is going to be the top anchor. Then put the padding at the top, right? Come here, get rid of this. Say comma. Padding at the top. What's the padding at the top? The padding at the top is going to be let's make it 2:4, right? That's going to be that. Then after that, we are going to center it. So we say photo image view, like so. This is going to be dot center x in view, right? Center x in view. What's the view? The view is the view. Do that, right? And that's everything we need to do, I believe. Let's see it first, right? We make sure that everything is as it should be. Come here, set up photo controller, right? Come here, say set up photo controller. So if we do that, stop, run. Now we are going to get, okay, we have balls that one up. Let's just figure it out. Come here. Where is it? Set up photo controller. Okay, photo controller, right? So what's the problem? We are putting the photo image view. That's correct, right? That's the photo image is, oh, okay. The anchor at the top is going to be name label, right? Okay. Run it. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that it's interactable, right? So let's first we could put up the various requirements, like handle next page. There's always a handle next page, right? Handle next page, for now it's going to be ABC. Okay, let's come to set up photo controller, right? So it's going to be here. We know we need that, set up that. And the next thing, we need to add a gesture to the image, right? And for that, we could add a function here that's just going to add a gesture to the image, right? And this is going to be func. It's going to be called add image gesture. And what's it going to do? Exactly what you think it's going to do, right? It's going to be let tap is going to be UI tap gesture recognizer, target self, action, hashtag selector, handle photo doesn't exist yet, so we say photo image view dot is user interaction enabled, so that we can tap it. Yes, true, like so. Then we say photo image view dot add gesture recognizer. And what's the gesture recognizer? The one that we just created. Tap. So that is done. We need to call it. Come here. That's done. Add image gesture recognizer, like so, right? What we want next would be essentially, I think we haven't created the function, right? So we need to come here and we say handle photo, right? Come here, say at Objective C func. This is going to be called handle photo, like so. Handle photo. What's handle photo going to be? For now, it's going to be print 1, 2, 3, right? It's going to be print 1, 2, 3. So let us see. Let's see whether you can tap our photo, and if we can, then after that we can set up the image picker, right? Hit this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now it works. The next thing we need to do is we need to set up our photo so that when you hit this, you get the image picker. And maybe this is a bit little. Let's increase the amount of padding, right? Photo image view padding top. Name label padding, let's make this name label dot bottom anchor, right? Name label dot bottom anchor padding top is going to be the same 24, right? Let's reload this and see it. Hopefully it's going to be fine. Okay, that's a bit more space. That's fine. The next thing we need to do is we need to figure out how we can, essentially, we want to show the photo picker when you select, when you hit the button, right? When you hit the photo, right, which you have given the tap gesture recognizer. So the first thing we need to do is we need to come up here and say import, and what do we want to import? Okay, maybe make it flush on the edge. Import photos UI, this one, like so. So we import photos UI, and what we want to do now in here is in the handle photo, we just want to come here and say var configuration, and the configuration is going to be phpicker configuration, and the library is going to be, we want the shared library, like so. Then we want to say configuration.selection limit. These are the number of photos that you can pick, right? Selection limit, we only want one photo because you're selecting one photo for your image. Like I said, even when you're selecting multiple photos, if you're a VIP user, we're going to let you, because you're going to put them on a separate tile each, we're going to let you pick one photo, right? So it's always going to be one. You're not going to pick mass photos and then upload them, right? So you're going to pick them on whichever tile you want to put them in, right? That's going to be in, I think, 2 sections from now, right? There's going to be one more section, and then after that we're going to handle that, right? So that's going to be that. Then we come in and we say configuration dot preferred dot rather configuration dot preferred asset representation mode, right? And this one normally just makes it faster for some reason, right? It avoids transcoding. This just makes when you put this and you select the photo, it's going to, the picker is going to rise up, or the picker is going to come up a bit faster, right? That's why we put the configuration preferred asset representation mode, right? That's what it does, right? And then after that we say let picker, and what's the picker? The picker is going to be the ph picker, and the configuration is going to be the configuration, like so, right? Then we come here and we say picker dot delegate. This is going to be the self, like so. Then we're going to say we're going to present it. So we say present present picker, and animation is always good, so we say animated is going to be true, right? Like so. And it's going to complain because we have not set up, we need to create an extension here where it's going to do a bit of the handling of the image, right? It's going to be extension, this is going to be set up photo controller, and this one is going to be phpicker view controller delegate, right? View controller, and then we want the delegate, this one, right? And I think it has one function it needs to implement. Let's just wait on it. It's going to complain that this does not conform. Let's use it to give us that. So it has this functionality. It did finish picking, right? So what we want to do is we want to first dismiss it. So we come in and we say dismiss animated. Animation is always good, so we say true, like so. Guard not result, right? Not result dot is empty. That means that there's something that you have selected, right? Not results plural dot is empty, like so, is empty. Else we return, right? And now, because this can be used, right, we can, because this expects the result of the picker to be an array, and we only want one element, we're going to pick essentially one because we have put the selection limit to 1. But here this method did finish picking, assumes that you can pick multiple, right? So we only want one, and here it's complaining because we want results plural, right? Because it expects multiple, but we only want one, right? So we're going to loop through and say for result in results, right? Though it's only going to be one, right? So what we want to do is we just want to come in and we say result dot item provider dot load object I'm not sure which one it is. I'm just going to say load object of class, and then this, and yeah, this one is the one we want. Okay, of class. What's the class we want? We want the UI image, because afterwards we're going to see how we can use this to pick a video, right? So that's why we're doing image now, right? We're going to use it also to pick an image, and we're going to hit that. Then we're going to have this and this, and we could just come here and we say we want an object here. So here we want an object, spell it correctly, object. Then we want the actual error, like so. In, come here, what's the code? We want the dispatch main queue. We want to do it on the main queue, so we say dispatch, like so, queue, like so, dot main dot async, and then we can put the code, right? So this is on the main queue. We just say something like, let's say guard let, okay, spell it correctly, come here, guard let self is going to be the self, okay, spell it correctly, self else, we're just going to return, right? This is going to be that. Then after that, what you're going to have, guard let self is going to be self, and here we could just come here and we say this is going to be that. And then after that, what we want is we say if let image, and what's the image? We want the image to be we want the image to be object as, and we want this as UI image, right? UI image, like so. And then we come here and we say there's going to be self dot photo image view dot image is going to be the image, right? So that's pretty self-explanatory. We just put the image that you have selected to be the image, right? So that when you select an image, right, after you select it, you also see it on the photo image view, right? We're going to see that in a minute. And then we want to give it a border color which is slightly different so it can be more pronounced, right? So we come here and we say, okay, let's hit tab like so and say self this, like so, the layer, the border color, and this is going to be, remember it's a core graphic, so we say UI color, like so, dot black dot CG color, like so. And then we say self dot photo image view dot layer dot border width, right? That's going to be 2 pixels or 2 that, right? Then afterwards, let's see, we probably should create a function, right? And this function, let's just create it now because you're going to use it when we actually hook up Firebase, but let's just create it now. Let's come and create this func. It's going to be called upload avatar, and it's going to do exactly what you think it's going to do, right? This is going to be image, and this is going to be UI image, like so. And for now, it's just going to print 1 2 3 1 2 4 3. Okay, not 1 2 3 4, but 1 2 4 3, right? So what we want is call that functionality. Come here, say self dot upload. Okay, self dot upload avatar, and the image is going to be the image, like so. Then we say self dot next button bottom anchor, like so. Then we say the constant. What's the constant? The constant is going to be -8, like so. Then you're going to say self dot next button dot, and to it we add the target. That's going to be the self here. The action is going to be hashtag selector. What's going to be the objective C is going to be self dot handle next page, like so. And this is going to be for dot touch up inside, right? Now that's basically everything. I think what we could do now is put it to the test. So let's run it, Command R, and see how that works out. Let's see how that works out. Okay, so now if we hit this, we should get the photo picker, right? And it rises, and now we can select the photo. And when we pick the photo, what is going to be included is going to be, we're going to see the photo on the whatever it's called, right? The photo image view, right? And then you're going to see some black border around it, and then you're going to dismiss, and then you're going to see the function called here with that image passed. But since we're not using it here, we're just going to see 1 2 3, right? So we pick this image, we see this image here, we see the border, and then we get 1 2 3, and of course we get this button here. And when we hit this, we get ABC, right? So for now, we can say that our photo picker is working as it should. Let's proceed. Now, what we want to do next is we want to create the gender controller. Now, the gender controller is going to look exactly like the preference controller, except that the difference is that you're going to be able to change your preference, right? You might one day like males and tomorrow like females, but your gender is a bit more fixed, so we're not going to allow you to change. You could allow a user to change. There's no reason why. There's no earthly reason why you shouldn't be able to have what is essentially gender reassignment surgery, but we're not going to allow it here. Because it's going to be something that you change infrequently, right? Maybe one day you might be interested in one gender and the next one the next, but we're going to use them the same, right? We're going to leave it the same for the gender, but the preference is going to be fluid, right? Now, the next thing is going to be, since they're going to be exactly the same, the difference is we're going to use the exact same gender. It's going to have essentially an enum, and you can pick one of three options, right? That is going to be male, female, and transgender, right? So since that is going to be the same, we're going to use the same enum on both the gender page and the preference page, right? So we're going to start off for the gender and preference, which are going to look pretty much the same, by creating a constant for the gender, right? Come to constants here, and what we would like is going to be enum, and the enum in question, let's give it a bit of more space, come here, enum is going to be called gender, like so. This is going to be that, comma, custom string convertible, right? And now we're going to have three cases: case M, not mutating, but case M, okay, case F, okay, case T, right? That's that. Then we're going to come here and we say static func, and this is going to be all values, and that's going to be exactly what you think it is, and this is going to return an array of strings, and this string is going to be an array of strings like so. And what it's going to do is we're going to return, what do we want to return? We want to return M comma F comma T dot map, like so. And what we want to do is come here, hit enter, like so, and we could use $sign notation, right? So come here, get rid of this, get rid of that, $0 dot description. So that is more or less sorted, right? And it's going to complain, and the reason it's complaining is because gender doesn't have description, right? So we need to create that. So we say var description, and that's going to be of type string, and then we create the switch like so, and it's going to have the various cases. We're going to have switch, and we come here and we say self, or wait, what's this? Let's just type switch self, and then come here and we get all the code, right? So that we don't have to type it out, right? And here, in case it's M, we're going to return, what are we going to return? We're going to return male, like so. Case it's F, we're going to return, what are we going to return? We're going to return female. Case it's T, we're going to return, what are we going to return? Trans. That is more or less sorted, right? So we have that, and this is going to be our gender. We're going to use it on both the gender selection and our preference selection. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is we need to create our gender controller, right? So what that looks like is pretty straightforward. Come here, hit this, Command N, that's going to be a Swift file, hit next. This is going to be set up gender controller, right? Hit create, that's going to be our gender controller. We come here and we say this is going to be class, this is going to be set up gender controller, and this is going to be UI view controller, like so, right? And what it's going to do is we want our view did load. Basically it's going to look exactly the same. So view did, okay, I don't know why it's not helping us, but view did, we're forgetting to import UIKIT, right? So we do that, come here, say view did load, call the super, that is done, right? Now we have our view did load. What's the next thing we need to do? We need to let's come to name controller, copy everything basically, right? So we need the welcome label, we need the name label, and we need the terms label, right? So let's just copy those three I'm sure we're going to need. Come here, copy here, come here, paste here, and here what we're going to say, what's your, instead of name we're going to say gender. spell it correctly. That's going to be gender, phone system, like so, 32. The name label is going to be you cannot change your gender. Let's just tell the user you cannot change your gender, like so. Then your gender will be made public, right? So your gender will be made public. Of course, the people have to be looking. Okay, is it going to be made public? But yeah, if you're only interested in that particular person, so you're only going to get that particular gender. So your gender will be made public, right? Yeah, we can tell them that, right? And then now, what's going to be different here is that we're going to use a segmented control to select gender, right? And okay, let's just create that first. Var gender control. And what's the gender control is going to be UI segmented control, like so. And what it's going to do is we could call it here, come here, give ourselves a bit more real estate. And this is going to be, let's SC is going to be UI segmented control, like so. And its items, which is going to display, it requires an array, right? And this array is going to be gotten from, we created it right now. That's going to be gender. And we want all of them, so we say gender dot all values, right? This is going to get all the values, male, female, and trans, and then show them, right? And then we say sc dot background color is just going to be dot light gray. So we have that. Then we come here and we say sc dot add target. That's going to be the self, like so, self. The action in question is going to be hashtag selected. The objective C is going to be handle gender, and this is going to be dot value change, right? That value change, spell it correctly, that is done, right? So what we want to do is we need to return it first. Return next. What's next? Next is the function, right? So we say at objective C func. What's the func? The func is going to be called handle gender, like so. What's going handle gender going to be? That it's not going to take anything, I believe. And for now, it's just going to be print. What are we going to put there? We're going to handle gender is going to be print. What do we want to print? We want to print ABC for now, right? ABC, right? So that's going to be that. And let's first see it on the page. What we want to do is we want to call some of the methods, and we can get them in the setup name. The name is going to be configure gradient. There is no keyboard, right? Configure gradient, configure UI, and title. And let's just copy this 4 lines, like so. I'm sure you know what all of them do. And then make a few changes. Come here. What do we want to do? We want to put that. We do not have a keyboard, so we could ditch this. Then we need the configure UI. So we need to come here above the objective C and say func. This is going to be called configure UI. What's it going to do? Exactly what you think it's going to do. Come back here because it's basically the 3 of them, right? View.add subviews. Copy this, welcome label, terms label, So let's copy all this, right? Let's copy all this, then make our changes as is required. Come back to gender. Come here, paste this. This is going to be that. The name container view doesn't exist yet, so we need to ditch this, right? Then we need the next button. So let's come here. And where's the next button? We want this 2, like so. Copy this. It looks exactly the same. Come here. Paste that. That's going to be that. That's going to stop complaining. We don't have a name container view. We can ditch this, right? And maybe the difference is the gender control. So what we want is to come here. In the welcome label, we need a gender control. So we say here, gender control. And how do we take care of the gender control? We come here and we say gender control dot anchor. And what's the anchor? The anchor is going to be leading, is going to be view dot leading anchor, like so. Trailing is going to be view dot trailing anchor. Padding leading is going to be 32. Padding trailing is also going to be 32, right? And then we center it in the view. We say gender control dot center y in view, and the view is just going to be view, like so. Try it out, see if we're on the right track. Command R, run everything. Okay, let's just see it. Oh, we're actually still showing the photo, right? So one thing we should do is we should make sure that we're actually showing the setup gender controller. Okay. Let's make sure everything is as it should be. Let's just come back to the scene delegate, and instead of photo, select photo here, make it gender, run it, and see what happens. Let's see. Okay, we get some sort of error. What the hell? Let's see. It's mentioning the segmented control. I'm seeing segmented control. Let's see. Swift array. Okay. UI label, set content. Segmented control, segmented control, segmented control. So there's probably something with our segmented control, because everything else we copied from the other page must be a segmented control, right? So let's figure out what's wrong with our segmented control. Let's see. We create a segmented control. We pass an array to it, right? And all values should be not be an array, right? So I think that's it. Let's run it. So it expects an array, but we're providing that. Okay, there it is, right? So here it is, right? And you will notice that there are three options. There's male, ABC, female, or trans, right? Now, one thing you will notice is that when you start, we don't assume any gender. There's no preference or basis or default value. If you want to put a default value, you notice that there's no default value here, right? If you want to put a default value, what you do is come here and say sc dot selected segment index. So you pick an index. If you want it to be male, you put 0, like so. So now when it starts, it's going to start and assume that the default value is male, and you have to change it to female or trans, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it's going to, you could put it like this, right? Let's minimize this. Okay, make it there, right? So you could minimize it. We minimize that, then we could put this as the default value, or we could leave it as such, right? So we're not going to select any. That's going to be our choice. And what we want is let's print the value that is selected by the user when they pick the, because you're not selecting any value. Instead of just printing ABC, let's come down here and say, what do you want to print? We would like to print that particular value. So we say print, and what are we going to print? We're going to print gender dot all values, and we just want to get the index. So you could say gender control, the one that you selected, dot selected segment index. So get that array, all the values, because if you look at this, all values, right? Jump to definition. This is what is caused the problem. When you call all values, you get back an array of strings, right? So we were passing it still as an array when it comes as an array, right? So that was the issue that we were creating. So you get all the values, which is an array, right? So it's just going to be male, female, and trans, and then we get the actual index that you select, right? So we print this. If we do this, we're going to print the value that you select, right? Or in theory, let's try it and see whether that works, right? We might be doing it in our heads and it works, and then we try it, it doesn't work. So here it's male, here it is female, and here is trans, right? So that works. Now, the next thing we want to do, we could leave this as so, then we're going to do it in the next one. We're going to improve on it, right? When we actually connect to Firebase, we're going to make the changes more useful to us, right? We could say self.next button, bottom anchor, like so. Dot constant, and this is going to be -8, and self dot next button dot add target self. This is going to be hashtag. Okay, why are we typing this? We have it several places. Let's just come to setup age controller. I'm sure we have this. We could copy this, right? Copy this, copy. It's going to be exactly the same. No need to reinvent the wheel after the Mesopotamians did it. Or is it the Sumerians? Okay, come here, do this, copy, come to gender control, come here, paste this, right? Now, an advantage here is that if we put it like this, we only set the next button bottom anchor after it's selected. But if you default to a selection, we should allow the user to move on to the next page, right? So if you default to a selection like male, the user might be male, so he might come here and check and see, oh, I'm already male, and go to the next page. So if you do have a default, make sure to not put this, not to show the next button bottom anchor after selection, right? So don't do that, right? So that's one of the things you need to think about. Okay, so everything is as it should be. Let's try running it, and if we run it now, presumably we'll get an answer, right? So this is going to be female, then we see it, and there it is, right? In all its glory, right? So trans male, that, right? So it's working the way we expect it to work, right? So it's working the way we actually expect it to work. Right, and now the next thing we need to do is we need to set up the preference, right? Now the preference is going to look exactly like this. The only difference is that it's going to have maybe different text and preference. You should actually try, because it's exactly like gender, but it's going to be preference, right? And everything that counts, right? So I'm going to allow you to do it, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's proceed. Now we need to create the preference controller, right? So we come here, hit Command N. This is going to be a Swift file. Hit next. This is going to be set up preference controller. Spell it correctly. Hit create. That's going to be that. Now we need our preference controller. It's going to look exactly like the setup gender controller. So except the name maybe, right? So we come here and we need to import UIKIT. So we say that. Then we come here and we say class set up preference controller UI view controller. The rest is going to be pretty much the same. View did load, call the super. Okay, come here, copy all this 3, right? Copy this 3, come here, pretty much the same. Pick a preference, maybe capitalize the preference. You can change your preference later. You can change your preference later. Your preference will not be made public. Your preference will not be made public, right? So that's going to be that. Then here we could just keep the gender control. Everything is going to be the same. I'm just going to leave it as it is, right? But we could come here, next button, copy this, right? Copy this, copy, come here, set up preference control. Put this here, right? We have our gender, we have our buttons, we need to configure our gradient, and we need to configure UI, then we need our title. So let's come here, copy this, copy, come here, put this, right? Then we need the configure UI, come here, copy this, come here, do that. Looks pretty much the same. Set up gender like so. Copy, come here, paste that, right? And if we've done everything as it should be, preference, right? Spell it correctly. Set up preference. Okay, run it. We should get everything as it should, because it's exactly the same basically. It's just that here the functionality is going to be, the function is going to set up, we're going to update the user's gender, right? Pick a preference. You can change your preference, so that's how your preference will not be made public. And if we hit this, we get the button, and it's going to be male, right? This is going to be female, and this is going to be trans, right? So you can now pick a preference, right? So that is basically everything you need to have in these are all the options that you need to pick when you're creating your preference. Okay, let's proceed. Now, what we want to do next is set up our terms controller. The terms controller is going to have a link to our terms of service and our privacy policy, which are required particularly. We're going to use them in a number of places, and we're also going to use them, although we're going to use them differently, right? So it's important to have them. We're going to have the links. What we're going to do is we are first going to create essentially customize Safari a bit in order to make it look a bit better, on reflow the text so that we can see it on the screen. I've even forgotten to talk about the text, right? So how are we going to get a privacy policy, right? Now, how you would do it, I think the easiest way, I noticed this in one app, and I think it's pretty brilliant, cheap, brilliant, free, and very useful. Create a document on Google Docs, right? And since you have to have Firebase, you should have Google Docs, right? Put your terms and conditions there. I'm going to give you a link. If you're in the group, I'm just going to give you the document and you can see it, right? So we're going to have our terms and conditions and just general. You can use ChatGPT to create one and make sure you read through it. And then you have the privacy policy and tell them that you're going to use Firebase Analytics, which we are going to use, right? So those two, and then come to share and make sure that there are anyone who has access to that particular document, right? Anyone can have access. As long as you have the link, you can have access to that document. And then use it as the URL in the app, right? So what that looks like is just put them on your Google Docs. Create two Google Docs, one called privacy policy, one called terms and conditions, then make it open to everyone, right? I'm going to give you access to, if you're in the group, I'm going to give you access to this document. And what you do afterwards is you could actually point them to mine, although don't do that. What you could do next is you come to your constants, right? And in your constants here, what you're going to do is you're going to create two, because you're going to use them also elsewhere. We're going to say let privacy, and privacy is going to be a string. And I put the privacy policy. I believe this is the privacy policy, right? Here. So I was preparing that. Come here, paste that. Then, we call it privacy policy, not just privacy, but privacy policy, right? Spell it correctly. And what's the next one? The next one is going to be terms of service, right? Service, this is going to be that. Come here, do this, right? This is going to be that, like so. Come here, cut this, paste this. That's going to be that, right? So we have our privacy policy and we have our terms of service. And that's going to be that, right? Okay, that's more or less set. And what we want to do now is we would like to ensure that we basically want to go to, and initially I imagined that we we're going to use it in several places, right? It turned out that we might not be using it in several places, but let's make it such that, where else might we want to use it, right? Okay. I did create this. I thought we were going to use it in multiple places. We're going to use it only in one place, but I'm going to make it available to everywhere in case we want to use it elsewhere, right? Because I realized when we came to the other place we're going to use it, which is going to be the purchase paywall on, we're going to use it on the purchase paywall for SwiftUI, right? That's where we're going to use it. However, SwiftUI has this link, has a built-in view for that we are going to use, right? So I didn't see the use of using it. Originally, I wanted to use it everywhere there also, but I thought, why not use SwiftUI is inbuilt? But yeah, let's go with my original plan. And my original plan was to make this available, I believe, on view controllers, right? So what we need to do is come to the very top. And what we need to do here is pretty straightforward. Come here. This is going to be import Safari services, right? And then what do we want to do after that? We would like to put the view controller. Let's go to the bottom here and we say func present Safari controller. What it's going to take? It's going to take a URL of type URL, right? So we come here and this is okay. I think it lacks one of the curly braces, so let's close that. And what we want to do is say let configuration is going to be sf Safari view controller dot configuration, like so. So we have that configuration. Then we say I'm going to show you exactly what you're going to do. Let Safari VC is going to be sf Safari view controller, and the URL is going to be the URL that it's called with. We pass in URL, and this is going to be URL, and we put the configuration is going to be the configuration. We're doing nothing with the configuration because I want to show you something. Here it's going to be present. What do we want? We want present. What do we want? We want the Safari VC, and we want animation is always good, so we say animated true, right? That is going to be done. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. In order to use it, of course, we would need to call it from the terms controller, which doesn't exist, right? So let's create that. Come here, hit this, hit Command N. This is going to be a Swift file. This is going to be called set up terms. Hit that. It's going to be exactly what you think it is, right? It's going to be class set up terms controller. We probably need to import UIKIT. I have a feeling we're going to need it here, and it's going to also help us. View controller, like so. Come here, and we are going to say, what are we going to say? We're going to say, let's see, var. Okay, let's just copy the labels, right? Welcome label. Come here, that's going to be that. Come, copy, come to set up terms controller, like so. And this is going to be paste this welcome label, and we could say this is just going to be, let's say something like hi. Okay, hi, like so. This can be something larger, so let's say 48, like so. Name label is going to be house rules label, and this is going to be of size 24, yes. And this is going to be text is going to be something like, please agree to our terms and follow our house rules. That is done, and that is going to be that. Then after that, we're going to have be respectful, just telling people don't be a dick. Okay, I'm wondering whether I can say that on YouTube. Be respectful label. This is going to be respect others, right? Don't be a dick. Respect, and I'll stop saying that now. Respect others. This is going to be also 24, right? So this is going to be 24, and text color is going to be, we're not going to put a text color here. Let's just say that be respectful, and that is going to be that, maybe bold system of size, right? Copy this, right? Copy, come here, paste, right? That's going to be that. Missing argument, okay, right? Font, okay, we're missing that argument, right? And then let's come here, and the next one is going to be let treat label, and this is going to be UI label. Let's copy this, right? No need to overthink it. Come here, copy this, right? Copy this, paste this here, right? Paste this here, and this is going to be respect, treat others with respect, right? Treat others with with respect. Okay, it might seem a bit redundant, or we could have it with the respect others. Okay, this line is redundant. I'd included it, but it seems to me to be redundant. And truth label and safety label, right? Let's copy this down, hit Command D, right? This is going to be, instead of be respectful, we could say truth label. Make sure, come here and say something like, make sure your age and photos are true to are yours. Let's just say are yours, right? So that you don't like catfish people and do all manner of nonsense, as is possible, right? There was a Netflix documentary on that, right? Then we have the safety label. Come here, say safety label, and this is going to be something like safety first, right? Come here, say safety first, and safety first, and this is going to be 24, and afterwards maybe come here, say this is going to be report label, reminding people to report people, right? Report label, snitch on people. If somebody says something you don't like, sends you a photo you don't like, we're here for you, right? Right, so that's going to be that. We could make this a bit smaller by putting this 16. Maybe don't make them think that the first thing that they're going to see is essentially like a negative thing, right? And then what we want now is going to be the two buttons that we're going to have, and these are going to be buttons not attributed, so we could get them from the login controller, right? Okay, I believe there are buttons here that we used, right? So we reuse as much as possible rather than actually coming here and thinking about it. Yes, so we could copy this and then copy it again, right? So copy this, copy, come here to set up terms, come here, paste this, right? And instead of register screen button, this is going to be called the terms button, right? Terms button, and what it's going to do is we're just going to have the bold type. So we're just going to have empty string, then come here and say the bold, but we say terms of service, right? And instead of handle register, we're going to say handle terms, right? And it doesn't exist yet, but you can imagine what it's going to look like. Come here, hit Command D, copy it, maybe press enter here, and this is going to be privacy, right? Instead of terms here, we're going to say privacy button. This is going to be a UI button. Button is going to be that. This is going to be and we could flip it here, right? The privacy policy should be maybe more understated, so we could come here and say privacy policy, right? And here, instead of handle terms, what do we want? We want handle privacy, right? You can imagine what that is going to do, right? It's going to bitch a bit because we do not have it, right? So what we want is going to be come down here, handle privacy, come down here and say at objective C func handle terms. Spell it correctly, or if you spell it incorrectly, make sure you continue spelling it like that, right? Handle terms right here. Come say objective C func. This is going to be handle privacy, right? Or privacy, or however you want to say it, right? Okay, so we get that. Then we come here and say guard let URL. URL is just going to be URL. Come here. This is going to be string. Is going to be terms of service, which we get from our constant. Else, we just come here and we return, and then we come here and we say present Safari controller. The URL is going to be the URL, right? Then we come here, basically copy this. It's only one thing we're changing. We are going to copy this, come here, do this. What's this? This is going to be privacy policy. Come here, say privacy policy. That's going to be that. And yeah, so we have created that. Of course, the issue is somewhere in the middle here. We're supposed to have a view did load, called a super view did load, like so. And then we need to put everything on the screen, all the gorgeous things that you saw on the screen, right? So we come here and we say let terms stack, and spell it correctly, terms stack. This is going to be UI stack view, and it requires an array. It's going to be that. Come here, going to be terms button and the privacy button, right? Privacy button, and we need a configure gradient and a configure UI, right? Oh, we probably should put this in the configure UI, right? Come here, say func configure UI. We have done this a bunch of times. I'm going to assume you can follow. Come here, cut this, cut, come put it here, go to the name controller, get this 2, this 3, right? This 4 rather. Come here, copy this, done this a bunch of times. Come here, paste that, get rid of this. Right, okay. That's going to be our terms, our privacy, right? And we need to remember, we have seen how this can go if we don't tell it how to do it. It defaults to horizontally, right? So term stack dot axis is going to be vertical. Remind it. Then you say term stack dot spacing, make it 1 like so, right? Then we say afterwards we're going to have the let respect stack. Respect stack is going to be UI stack view. Ranged subviews is going to be an array. Come here. This is going to be be respectful label and truth label, right? And we come here and we say this is going to be okay, wait, we have welcome house rules, be respectful, truth label, and then safety. Okay, fine. So that's going to be respectful and truth label, right? And come here, say this is going to be respect stack dot axis. What do you want the axis? It's going to be vertical. Then you can respect stack dot spacing. That's going to be 2. That is done. Then afterwards we want the safety stack, I believe. Come here, say let safety stack. This is going to be UI stack view. Come here, say arrange subviews. Come here, what's this going to be? This is going to be and report label like so. Then we come here and we say we want the safety stack dot axis. What's the axis going to be? We want it vertical. Then we say safety stack dot spacing. What's the spacing going to be? 2, right? So basically all of that. Now the next thing to do is just put everything on the screen, which we are going to do. Okay, let's continue. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to put everything on the screen, right? Make sure we see everything. So we come here to the configure UI, and what we want to do is say view dot add sub views, the one that we created, the variadic one. And what we want is to add the terms stack. Then we want to add the welcome label. I believe we have one of those. And we also have the respect stack. And we have your safety stack, right? And we have a next page. Okay, we don't have the next page. Let's put the next page button, right? So for that, let's just come up to name, come here, do this, copy, and come back to setup terms and put this, let's put it at the top here, right? Just before this, before the view did load, put it there. That's done, right? Now the next thing we need to do is putting that on the screen. That's going to be next page, next. Okay, next. What do we call it? We called it the next button, or next what? We called it the next button, right? Which is going to be make page button. Okay, next button, right? So it's called the next button. For some reason, I thought it was called the next page button. Wonder where I got that idea from, right? So let's come here and we say welcome label. Welcome label is going to be pretty much the same, I believe, as this one. Like so. Okay, let's just come here, copy this, copy, come back here, do that, right? So we have that, and that's going to be that. Then we have the next stack would be the term stack, I believe. Would it be the term stack? The term stack. And where would we put the term stack? The term stack would be okay. The term stack would probably be somewhere at the bottom, right? So let's just take care of that. Let's come here and we say term stack dot anchor, and the anchor is going to be the bottom, and this is going to be view dot safe area layout guide, so that it can clear the bottom dot bottom anchor, and we're going to center it. So we say term stack dot center x in view, and the view is just going to be the view, right? That's going to be done. Then the next page button would be anchored. This one we're not going to put in we don't need this, right? Just that I think about it, since this is just tell the user what is going to be here, we probably don't need this. We can just anchor it, right? So let's come here, let's put the next page button, come here, say next button, and we want to anchor, and the anchor here is going to be the bottom is going to be the view dot safe area layout guide dot bottom anchor, like so. The trailing is going to be the view dot trailing anchor, and the padding trailing is going to be 8, right? That is sorted. Then after that, probably the next page button. Okay, wait. The next button, handle next page. Where are we calling handle next page? Setup name. Let's see. Are we calling the functionality for the next page? I'm not seeing where we're calling it here. Let's come and say next page. Okay, yeah, here is where I was looking for it, right? So we just need this. Come here. I was wondering why we couldn't find it. Let's get that. Come to terms. Probably put it here. Let's put it here, since it's going to appear right on the screen, and it doesn't have the handle next page. So let us jump to handle next page, copy it, come here, make that function somewhere at the bottom, right? Everything is going to be good. Everything is going to be okay, right? And that is sorted. The next thing we probably need to do is we need to put all our stacks, after the welcome label. Let's look at we have done the term stack, right? The respect stack, right? So the respect stack can come underneath the welcome label, right? So you could come in and say respect stack dot anchor. What's the anchor? The anchor is going to be the top, is going to be anchor top is going to be welcome label dot bottom anchor, like so. Leading is going to be the view dot leading anchor, like so. The padding at the top is going to be 16, and padding leading is going to be 8, right? That is that. And after that, we probably need the safety stack, right? After the respect stack, we have the term stack, the respect stack, and the safety stack, right? And that can be underneath that. So we could come here and we say safety stack. And what do we want with the safety stack is going to be anchor. And the anchor here is going to be the top, is going to be the respect stack dot bottom anchor. That is sorted. Then the leading is going to be the view dot leading anchor, like so. And the padding at the top, padding top is going to be 16, and then padding leading is going to be 8, right? So that is sorted. What's the next thing we need to do? The next thing we need to do is, I think we have everything we possibly should have. Let's try and see if this actually works out, right? You might be building and then find out that this is not actually how it's supposed to look like, right? So let's just see that this is actually what we have been building. Give it a second. Oh, I don't think we have connected the setup terms controller, right? I'm not sure. We still are on preference, right? So let's come here and let's set up the setup terms controller, right? So this is going to be set up. Okay, let's just select the word preference here and say terms, right? And then run this. And now, presumably, if we have done everything that should be, hi, respect others, make sure the photos are, ooh, okay. Safety first, report label, right? Okay. Things are not as we expect them to be. So let's figure that out. Let's look at the terms controller, right? Let's just stop this and look at the terms controller. And then we can figure out terms of service, right? And privacy policy. Let's hit this and terms and condition. Let's say no thanks, right? So no thanks. And we can actually scroll through and see the terms, right? And one thing we could do, let's just take care of that and then figure out how to make things look as they are supposed to do, right? What we could do is we could make the text reflowable, right? I don't think we did that. Let's just let's come here. Let's go to extensions, and here what we want to do is come here and say on the configuration, and we say enters reader if available. And say true, right? So if we hit true here, what we should get is command S, command R, present that, see that, right? Hit this, and you see it's going to change, right? It's going to enter the reader mode so that you can enjoy it better, and you're going to be able to make the text larger, the font, all that stuff, right? So that's what that is going to enable it, right? And we could do the same for the privacy policy, right? So after that we enter reader mode, right? So enters reader if available. That's what the whole point of that was, right? So we enter reader mode because it might end up being slightly beneficial to us, and that's pretty good, right? Now the next thing to do is probably figure out why our text looks a bit janky right now, right? So we were saying hi, and the reason here we're not putting the name is because this is going to come before the name, right? So we want, as soon as the user comes, to figure out our terms. This should be the first thing they see, and then we connect them. We're going to connect the others after this so that they can actually flow through them, right? And see exactly. Then we're going to go through a run through of the setup, right? So hi, and what we are supposed to say, let's see what the terms are. The text, come back here, and this is going to be hi, house rules label, right? Okay, we're not putting the house rules label. Are we using the house rules label anywhere? We are probably not doing that, right? So we are having a let's see, we just say respect others, make sure your age and photos are yours. This I think should be this should be 16, right? This should be 16. Command R, let's see that. Okay, respect others, make sure your photos are yours, safety first. Report, not report label, report any bad behavior, right? We should say report any bad behavior, right? So this should be system font. Let's just get rid of the bold, make this S, like so. Safety first, that's going to be that. Respect others, this is going to be safety first, yeah. Then respect others is going to be bold, and make sure this is going to be not bold, right? So use the bold sparingly. And house, please agree to our terms and follow our house rules. Okay, so we could put that in the house rules label, right? Put a comma there. Let's see that. Let's see what it looks like now, right? And follow our house rules. Okay. Let's see. Bold system is going to be that. Hi, this probably should be 16, right? Or rather, play around until you get something you want. please agree to our term, and then we come here and we say respect others, safety first. Maybe give maybe come here and say spacing here is going to be something like 8, right? Let's put increase the spacing and make sure everything is okay. Hi, please respect others and follow. Make sure your age and photos, make sure your photos are truly yours. I don't see the point of putting the age. You can lie about your age, okay? I'd assume, right? Make sure your photos are yours. Okay, run that. Make sure your photos are yours, respect others, and please agree to our house and terms rules, right? So basically that, and then you're supposed to hit this, and then what that is supposed to do is supposed to take you to the next page. Safety first, respect others, make sure your photos are yours. That is, don't go catfishing stuff and do all that stuff, right? So that's basically it. But one thing we would want to do, or that would be useful to us, would be, I'm thinking, we would want to see what it looks like, right, in as you flow through the entire thing, right? So that it's just not this, but it's actually, we see what it would look like if you were to go through the various pages, right? So let's come here to the scene delegate. Of course, this is still going to be, there are going to be several changes that we're going to make, right? Here, we're going to make changes here, right? So this is not by any means the last iteration it's going to look like. When we come to authorization, we are going to have several things to check, right? Whether or not a user is this is the first time they're going through the thing, whether or not they are signed in and all that, and what to show them, right? So what we'd like to do is, in order to enable the user to navigate, we need to wrap this from the terms to the age, to the terms, to the name, to the age, to the photo, to the gender, and then the preference. We need to wrap this in a navigation controller, right? So what we do is we say, let VC is going to be set up to be this, right? So we set this to be the VC, set up terms controller. Come here, cut this, come here, paste that. Then we say, let wrapped VC, this is going to be UI navigation controller. Like I said, this is subject to change, and this is going to be VC. Now we present the wrapped VC, right? So the window root is going to be the wrapped VC, right? So if we do that, we will now have access to the navigation controller. Let's make sure everything is as it should be and see that. And what we would want to do next is, after that, we can now step through the various controllers, right? So we have this, and what we want to do is we want to make sure that when the user hits the button, they go to the next page. We've already done this a billion times, right? A couple of times with the login controller, register controller, and whatnot, and so on and so forth, right? What we want to do is we want to make sure that this is the case. This connects to the name, and then the name connects to the age, and the age control, on and on and on, until we get to the preference, which is going to be the very last thing, right? So I'm going to give you a second to try it out, right? I'm going to give you a second to try it out. I'm going to count to 5. And then after that, I'm going to do it myself, right? So let's actually try it out. So there, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Now, before we test things, I just discovered an error, which isn't really an error. It's only an error when you're building it, like when you're working on the computer, but when you're on your device, it won't be an error. Let me explain what I mean, right? So if we come here and we say the VC we want to go to is set up age controller, and just do that and reload, and then we go to the age controller, what you're going to notice is that here, if we select this, we're going to get the keyboard, but we can still type, right? We can still type. Now, what you will notice is this is because we are actually on a computer, right? But if you decide only to use the onboard keyboard, right? The keyboard, if you don't have access to like you're using it on your device, that's what I mean, right? If you're using this on the device, you won't be able to type, because every time you try to access the text field, you're only going to get the date, right? Because we did set that. If we come here and check, right, set up age, come to the age controller, and you see that the input accessory view is a toolbar and the input view is the date picker, right? So when we hit the button, we actually try to interact with it, we'll only get the date picker. We won't be able to type on it, right? So this is only a problem here, right? And for example, if we come to this, the simulator, and we hit Command K, right? Maybe I already did it, right? So let's just hit Command K and come and select this, right? So if you try to interact with this, right, you can only select the date. You can't type in the whatever you want to type in. You'll only be able to interact with this by selecting a date. And when you select a date and hit done and it's dismissed, you're going to get back the date on the text field, right? So you can only type words when you are working on building this, right? Now let's make sure everything is as it should be, right? Okay, so let's come to the scene delegate, and here just go back to terms, right? Then go to terms, and in terms, instead of printing ABC, we could say let VC is going to be setup name controller. Then we say navigation controller dot push view controller is going to be VC, animated is going to be true, right? So let's do that and see whether it works, right? So we run this and we come back here and we get this and we hit this and we come here, right? So now we have this and we can always go back, right? Now let's do the same for the name. Now from the name, we want to go to the age. So let's go to the, no, from the name, let's go to the name. And here, instead of this, we could just say VC is going to be set up age controller, right? And then we say navigation controller dot push view controller is going to be VC, and animated is going to be true, right? Reload, try it out. Okay, come here, do this, enter a name, make sure the name is something we want, and we can go to the age and we repeat that. Now we could do this. Let's just copy them for all of them and then try them out, right? Because we know it works, right? From the name, we want to go to the age. So from the age, what we want to do is come here, do this, and here, of course, you could, because it's the same functionality and you're just passing in a name, you could create a generic function that you're going to use in several places. I'm going to leave that to you. If you want to see it, just ask me to do it and I'll show you how that could be done. And what we want here is going to be set up photo, right? Come here, set up photo controller, put it here, and that's going to be that. Then come to the setup photo. From the photo, where do we want to go? We'd like to handle, where is handle next page, right? Handle next page, we want to select the photo, then put this. After the age, we're going to go to the gender here, right? So this is going to be gender, right? And then in the gender, we're going to go to the preference, right? So come here. This is going to be set up preference, spell it correctly, right? So now we have the seamless control all the way from the terms, and I know terms is the last one, but it's going to be our fast, right? Down to the setup preference controller. So let's see it in action. Let's stop, run this, and now we should be able to navigate through all our pages, right? So we come here, we can always pick the terms of service. This is what it looks like. It's going to be made readable, and we also have a privacy policy that's going to be done. Okay, we can navigate to our name. We enter our name. Let's say our name is that. We go here, our birthday is that, and we go here and we pick a photo. That's going to be our photo. Then we come here and we pick our gender. We are males. And we come here, we pick our preference. We're female. And we hit this. And now the preference one is just going to be ABC, right? Because we are going to later on figure out where the preference is going to in the next section, right? So this is going to be the handle, the next page, right? So that's basically it. And now we can navigate and we can essentially capture all the users' basic information that they need in the app. There's one thing also we need to capture. We need to capture the user's location, so that if we capture the user's location, we can capture the user's location. We can then update the distance, because we're supposed to calculate the distance between the user and other users, right? So basically that, right? So that is done, and we can proceed from there. I think we're done with this section. We can go to the next one.